The announced nationwide 2G rules in Austria are effective. At the weekend, the number of vaccinations in Austria rose significantly. However, the Chancellor does not anticipate any rapid relaxation. So, a 2G rule has been in effect across Austria since Monday, and it has apparently already worked. As the government hoped, many people got their first vaccination at the last minute, so to speak, on the weekend. Because, according to a decision by the government announced at short notice, only those vaccinated against COVID-19 and those who have recovered from it are now allowed to go to bars, hotels, events, and hairdressing salons. In view of the exponentially increasing corona infections and the filling intensive care units, Chancellor Alexander Schallenberg from the ÖVP does not assume that these restrictions for unvaccinated people can be lifted within 6 weeks. It will probably be a 2G Christmas, said the new conservative head of government to the Kronenzeitung. And he said, most likely the rule will still be in force on New Year's Eve. That was said by Vice Chancellor Werner Kogler from the Greens in a joint interview. The government's announcement on Friday evening was not followed by mass demonstrations, but by queues at the vaccination centers across the country. On Saturday alone, the Ministry of Health reported almost 32,000 vaccinations, which climbed the weekly statistics to 213,000. The last time there were weekly doses like this in early August. However, the first vaccinations on Saturday only made up a third of the vaccinations. The pressure on unvaccinated people and the numbers of vaccinations have increased in the last few days, not only because of the upcoming 2G rule. Since the beginning of November, workers who have not been vaccinated or who have recovered have to bring a test certificate several times a week to their companies with the 3G rule. Also, many people are getting their third dose these days. In many cases, the Viennese free newspaper Heute defined the 2G rule on its title page as a Schnitzel-Lockdown. In the Leopoldauer Hof, a Viennese near the city limits, you see the measure pragmatically. You have to accept that, said Managing Director Alan Winscher to the German press agency and referred to the high corona numbers. Winscher expects, however, that 10% of the guests will be absent due to a lack of vaccination certificates. He also fears that company Christmas parties will be cancelled. The hospitality industry and tourism showed overall understanding. The government had no other choice because of the contagion dynamics, said Robert Seber, who represents the division in the Chamber of Commerce. And he said, in addition, the responsible handling of the infection rate is an important signal to our markets of origin, especially to Germany. Everything must now be done to prevent travel warnings during the ski season. I'm for it, but it's too late, says Herbert, a guest at the Leopoldauer Hof, about the 2G rule. In July, the previous Chancellor Sebastian Kurz announced, for everyone who is vaccinated, the pandemic is over. There were no large-scale advertising campaigns for primary vaccinations on the part of the government over the summer months. Austria now has almost 65% of people with full vaccination protection, one of the lowest values in Western Europe. On Saturday, the number of daily new corona infections reached a record value of 9,943. On Sunday, it was 8,554. The 7-day incidence in Austria was mostly around 570. Health Minister Wolfgang Mückstein was realistic. Around 15% of people are absolutely against the vaccination, 8% could still be convinced. Now it's not only necessary to vaccinate, but also to consistently implement the 2G rule, he demanded, and eluded the weak checks of the previous 3G rule in restaurants in many places. If things continue with a wink in your eyes in some places, it won't work, he warned. And he's right. And by the way, I wouldn't mind if they would put up the 2G rule as far as possible. Here won't work in supermarkets because everybody needs to eat. But for the rest, yeah, I don't mind. We do our parties with 2G only. I'll see you in my next video. Bis gleich.